Slaughterhouse 5 by Kurt Vonnegut. The first character we have is Billy Pilgrim. The central character of Slaughterhouse 5, a pacifist, a soldier, a prisoner of war, and an optometrist. Billy is the epitome of a mild-mannered everyman who adapts to life situations rather than challenge them. He feels it is better to turn the other cheek than to suffer the guilt of being offensive. The only aggressive action Billy takes during the novel is his committing himself into a mental ward. He becomes unstuck in time and travels to other times and places. Next character we have is Bernard V. O'Hare, a former soldier and the narrator's comrade from the Nazis' prisoner of war camps in the 1940s. Some 20 years after the war has ended, O'Hare accompanies the narrator on a visit back to Dresden. Next character is Renard Wary. He is a bully and a braggart. He is a foil to Billy Pilgrim. Wary won't leave Billy behind, not because he likes Billy or his compassionate or anything. Instead, Wary is busy creating a story in his head about the war. In it, he and two other scouts manage to drag Billy to safety, even though Billy is totally unequipped for battle. Wary calls his trio the Three Musketeers. Next is Paul Lazaro. Paul Lazaro is the fake name of a real guy the narrator mentions in the first chapter. Lazaro is a fellow American prisoner of war with a grudge against Billy because he believes it is his fault that Ronaldo Weary dies of gangrene. Lazaro is a guy with a permanent chip on his shoulder, a total psychopath who judges every encounter he has with a person based on how much respect they show him. Next is Valencia Pilgrim. Billy marries Valencia, an obsessed and good-natured woman. Valencia is thankful that Billy has married her because she thought that nobody would want her because of her weight. Valencia gives birth to two children and lives happily with Billy as many years they lived. Barbara Pilgrim, the daughter of Valencia and Billy. Barbara is faced with the task of taking care of her father and his business dealings. Billy asserts that he was taken by the Trafalmadorians on Barbara's wedding night. Barbara suspects that her father is senile because of the plane crash and is ranting about Trafalmadori. She is frustrated and embarrassed about his rantings. Last character is Edgar Derby. Derby is another prisoner of war and one of Billy's only friends. He is one of the oldest soldiers serving with them and stands up to Howard W. Campbell Jr. and Nazis propagandists when he comes to the camp in Dresden to speak to the soldiers. Derby is put to death by firing squad for stealing a teapot. The setting of the book takes place in Ilium, New York. Optometrist. Billy winds up in his Ilium optometry office in 1967. He experienced difficulty treating his patients and he stresses over his state of mind. By and large, battling to review his age, he attempts to recall what year it is, has no clue. Since he is frightened at the idea of another war, he is effectively frightened when he hears what he believes is an alarm, yet it is just the early afternoon day whistling sounding from the firehouse over the road. Next slide is the war. Billy portrays his entrance into the military, his preparations as a clergyman's associates in South Carolina, and his bewildered trek behind adversary lines after the deplorable Battle of the Bulge in World War II. After the fight, Billy falls in with three other American warriors, two of whom are scouts and skilled officers. The person who isn't the anti-tank heavy armament specialist, Ronald Wary, is a merciless, shaky man who spares Billy's life more than once in acts that he thinks will make him a saint. Next is the Three Musketeers. Billy's gathering Menards for 3 days in a day of cold under steady marksman's fire. Exhausted always guides Billy to keep up and not fall behind. Brought up in a family that reversed weapons of tournament, Wary fantasizes that he and the two other scouts are the Three Musketeers. The Trafalmadorians are the outsiders who carry Billy to their planning to show him in a zoo. From multiple points of view, the Tralfamadorians are unpretentiously contrasted with the Germans. The primary thing the Germans do when Billy lands at their jail camp is to make him remove his garments, which is additionally the principal thing the Tralfamadorians do when Billy lands on their planet. Additionally, the Tralfamadorians will not consider the topic of why they stole Billy. They state there is no why, but that as it made most significant, the Tralfamadorians, similar to the Germans, thoroughly evacuate Billy's decision. They kidnap him, and there's nothing Billy can do about it. He is compelled to live in a geodesic vault on Tralfamadori, similarly as he is compelled to live in the Slaughterhouse in Dresden. The following is The Prisoner. In the wake of going through the night on morphine, Billy wakes at the sight light in his jail bed. On the day he and different Americans are to be shipped to Dresden, he detects something transmitting vitality close to his bed and finds the wellspring of this creature extraction. Two little irregularities inside the coating of his jacket. A clairvoyant correspondent advises him that the irregularities can work supernatural occurrences for him on the off chance that he doesn't attempt to discover anything else about them. The plane and wife death. The plane collides with Sugarbush Mountain in Vermont, and Billy makes do with the crackhead. Austrian ski teachers wearing dark scale veils land on the scene as they check for indication of life. Billy remembers Slaughterhouse 5 in German, an expression he learned in Dresden as to impart the location of his jail in the event that he got lost. The ski teachers transport Billy down the mountain onto a toboggan. A famous neurosurgeon works on him, and Billy stays oblivious for 2 days. In addition, with Pilgrim's wife's death, in the wake of hearing that Billy was in the plane accident in Vermont, Valencia drives the family cabin, and in the light of the fact that she is distressed, makes an off-base turn, backs off, and is hit by a Mercedes, harming the vehicle's fumes framework. Valencia keeps driving in despite of the misshape and maneuver into the hospital, just to go out blue in the face and bite the dust of carbon monoxide, harming her and her health. Last and final scene is the hospital. The hospital scene, Edgar Derby oversees Billy's sickbed. Billy recalls Derby passing by terminating squad, which occurs sooner rather than later. Billy goes back to the veterinarian's emergency clinic. His wife, Valencia Pilgrim, is visiting him from the operation. Obviously himself, Billy is uninformed of Valencia's demise. He imparts a space to resign Brigadier General Bearmontum Copeland Rumford, authority of U.S. Aviation-based armed forces, historian, and an educator at Harvard. Thanks to the credits of Rachel Martinez as paper slides, Sylvia Merida, paper slide and filmer, Anthony Lopez, paper slide, speaker, and script, Angelica Louise, script, and finally Emily Rodriguez as the editor.